Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Thank you very much to all my new Patreon supporters. I saw a lot of new names yesterday. Thank you all very, very much from the bottom of my digital heart. And as always, a free way to support the channel is by leaving a thumbs up. And without further ado, let's jump right into it because of course there's the cryptocurrency space is never, it's never a dull place. So, most cryptocurrency assets have recovered some of the losses charted yesterday. Bitcoin is above 18,000, while Ethereum has jumped back above 560 following the steep price drop of nearly $2,000. Bitcoin bounced off the $17,600 bottom and has risen above $18,000 once again. Most altcoins have also recovered some of the losses, and the market cap has added around $20 billion since yesterday after the relatively calm weekend Bitcoin had, where it dabbled, fancy word, with $19,000. The cryptocurrency experienced a significant drop yesterday. Bitcoin went from $19,300 to $18,000 before continuing south to $17,600 US dollars. If you did not see the video yesterday as to why Bitcoin dropped, please go do so because it does make a lot of sense. It was the only thing that actually entered the news that made any sense as to why the price would have dropped. Also, hopefully that video put some logic into the air because the market has started to recover because it probably shouldn't have fallen in the first place because everything that's going to be happening is just going to be bought up by institutions. There is not, are not a lot of price news this morning. There's just not. I kept on looking around. I found things just relatively similar to this, talking about that Bitcoin fell, Bitcoin's going back up. There weren't any real price predictions for other coins like we've seen before in the past where they're like, Cardano's going to go to $1 or XRP is going to go to 15 bajillion cents or whatever the case might actually be. It was more that the market is recovering. A lot of coins are recovering a lot more than some other coins, which we'll see in a little bit. Yeah, that's all the price news. And without further ado, let's move on to some of the crazy stuff because it's going to get a little weird, I promise you. Analysts at Citigroup say clients should sell Microstrategy stock, very important, throwing cold water on a stock that has seen its price soaring following a series of Bitcoin-related announcements this year. I'm going to call this jealousy news, and I'll tell you why I call it jealousy news. The Wall Street Bank downgraded its recommendation for the Virginia-based firm to sell, a move that came a day after MicroStrategy said it would double down on its recent Bitcoin purchases by issuing debt to buy even more Bitcoin. For those of you who didn't see that video or simply missed out, MicroStrategy is the company who bought $250 million and then another $175 million. And I think they now possess, own, control, who knows, around $800 million worth of Bitcoin from purchases that they had before. A lot of energy and attention has been pushed to MicroStrategy because, if you have a lot of money, excess money, and you're pushing that all into a cryptocurrency, why are you doing so? A lot of momentum has happened with their stock and also with the price of Bitcoin, and therefore MicroStrategy is now a huge name within the cryptocurrency space. They announced yesterday, 2 days ago, doesn't really matter, that they were going to be purchasing even more Bitcoin, that they were going to issue some type of a debt that other people would be able to buy. And therefore, I think in the next 5 years, they'd be able to buy the debt back from them. But the money that they got from that debt, which was going to equal $400 million, they would use that to buy even more Bitcoin. That's why I'm calling it jealousy news. Not simply because I feel like Citibank wishes that they had done something similar or had executed something along the same exact lines. Because if you are a bank and you don't control 1.2 million or in the future $1.2 billion worth of Bitcoin, you probably go, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. But maybe it's just me. I don't know, just how my mind kind of works. In a note to clients that was obtained by The Block, Citi says that the recent rally in MicroStrategy stock was overextended, jealousy, and described its plan to raise $400 million via convertible notes to buy Bitcoin as aggressive and possibly a deal breaker for software investors. So Citibank was like, no, I don't like it. Don't do that. It doesn't make any sense. Why are you buying so much Bitcoin? And then immediately after, MicroStrategy was like, okay, 400 million is not enough. MicroStrategy, the software and business infrastructure provider, recently announced that it was offering $400 million worth of convertible notes to investors, and it would utilize the funds to buy more Bitcoin. The firm today revealed that it was upping the size. It was upping the size of the debt from $400 million to $550 million, along with the pricing details of their debt security offering. So they didn't give two rats behinds as to what Citibank was saying. This is, of course, very popular news. Any company who's talking about that they're going to be buying $550 million worth of anything, because all this stuff that they're selling is going to be pushed exclusively into Bitcoin. Don't forget, it wasn't the Rockefeller family, it was the Guggenheims, who are also looking to buy $500 million worth of Bitcoin as well. So, not that the news backfired from Citibank, but it's more like I don't think now is the time to really test anyone to see exactly how much they're willing to bet on this, because even mathematically, realistically, just throwing this out there, we are probably going to go higher than 40,000 US dollars. Just throwing that out there. So even if we didn't reach $1 million Bitcoin, $3 million Bitcoin, even a $500,000 Bitcoin, if Bitcoin just went to $40,000, they would still be making like an extra $1 billion off of their bet from Bitcoin. So anyway, I saw that. I thought it was hilarious, because imagine someone being like, we're going to downgrade your stock and tell people to sell you. Okay, that's fine. Can we buy some more, please? Just completely disregarding everything that they had to say. Anyway, that's the MicroStrategy Citigroup news. And let's move on to more banking news, because, of course, there's banking news every single day, because, say it with me, banks love Bitcoin. They are absolutely obsessed with it. The rise of cryptocurrencies in mainstream finance is coming at the expense of gold. This was said by JP Morgan Chase. Money has poured into Bitcoin funds and out of gold since October, a trend that's only going to continue in the long run as more institutional investors take a position in cryptocurrencies. This is according to the bank's quantitative strategists, including Nicolaos Panigrotsouglou. JP Morgan is one of the few Wall Street banks that's predicting it. No, I'm pretty sure they're all predicting it. I'm pretty sure they are all predicting this shift to be happening. It's just that JP Morgan just happens to be the one who stepped out of the room first to say it out loud, because I'm pretty sure they wish they could take a lot of that back. These institutions and companies and banks said out loud what they plan on doing. They probably didn't expect prices to rise as quickly as they did, because they still want to be able to accumulate more. If gold is going to suffer and continue going down in price, well, you want to be able to sell it off as quietly as possible. Anyway, JP Morgan is one of the few Wall Street banks that's predicting a major shift in gold and crypto markets as digital currencies become increasingly popular as an asset class. The trend poses a problem for bulls in precious metals markets over the coming years if investors move even a small slice of their allocation away from gold and into crypto. The adoption of Bitcoin by institutional investors has only begun, while for gold, its adoption by institutional investors is very advanced. This was written by one of the strategists. The Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, a listed security popular with institutions, and they go and talk a yada yada, all the companies who've been telling other people to drop gold for Bitcoin. So, once again, one of the largest banks on the planet. I don't know if JP Morgan is actually the largest. Doesn't really matter. We know who JP Morgan is. Has announced that gold will suffer for years as Bitcoin continues to rise. Not really sure how much I even have to say on this topic. This is happening every single day. I think we've maybe had a day where there wasn't like bank-loving Bitcoin news, but that was usually covered by, hey, I'm rich, look at me over here, I'm also buying Bitcoin kind of news. So we'll see where this all goes. I've seen one person in the comment section, kind of like a town crier kind of thing with a bell saying buy gold instead of Bitcoin. You need gold because gold is going to save the world kind of things. We'll see. I give it 13 months. I think 13 months would be a very accurate time frame going off of the other banks as to where they think next December things will be. Because if Bitcoin hits 100,000, gold is going down. That's just basically what's going to happen. Anyway, that's the JP Morgan Chase. Gold is not going to do well because of Bitcoin for years. And keeping in mind, when we talk about Bitcoin's price predictions over the next 4 years, they've always been between $500,000 and $1 million per Bitcoin. That already eclipses gold's market cap. So at that point, gold, you know what I'm thinking? I think we're probably, if all of this does come to be, we're probably going to see a gold ounce again at around like $300, which is going to drive people absolutely insane. Those are like 2004, 2005 prices. Anyway, yeah, that's a JP Morgan news, and let's move on. In news that finally made crypto news, because normally this news doesn't. I have to scour the web to figure out if stuff like this is happening, but it's actually quite popular. This is not going to make everyday news, but at least it's more so in the cryptocurrency space. According to an investigative report by Run.es, Venezuela intends to increase its use of Bitcoin to pay for imports to bypass financial sanctions imposed by the US. Run.es, which was founded by Venezuelan investigative journalist Nelson Bocaranda, cited anonymous sources from the country's central bank who claim that payments to companies from allied countries, such as Iran and Turkey, have been made using Bitcoin. Hello out there to you, my friend in Florida, because I know if you weren't listening before, your ears just perked up. It is unclear what these imports consist of. However, Turkey and Iran currently provide the country's food and fuel in exchange for gold. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro's government has promoted its state-issued currency called the Petro, but nobody's using it. It says, however, poor adoption of the Petro has forced the regime to explore other crypto assets, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. Very popular news right now. As well, that it should be as it should be. We keep getting news and information that countries around the world are accumulating Bitcoin and or using Bitcoin to pay each other for services. This is no longer speculative as if people are going to be using... First of all, the world is already using Bitcoin in many different ways, whether it be for trading, derivatives, wrapping it, buying things. There are tons of people who actually use Bitcoin on a daily basis. What's that guy's name from the podcast What Bitcoin Did? Something McCormick. He says many times he gets paid in Bitcoin. He travels the world in Bitcoin. He buys his flights in Bitcoin. He pays everything in Bitcoin. It's just what he does. So now we've gotten to the point where, as predicted in 2011, 2012, that countries would start using Bitcoin as a means of... I want to use the term economic sovereignty, but this is kind of exactly what it is. Like being able to get around something that someone else has told you to do, and you simply go, well, I can use Bitcoin instead. So the news at the moment is that it is Iran, Turkey, and Venezuela. I'm going to assume there are a list of other countries, but this is probably only the information that we are particularly receiving at the moment. Here's the actual article right here. It's in Espanol, so if you can read that, then go for it. But yeah, very fascinating. Very interesting is the word that I'm going to use, because there are a lot of, if you haven't been reading the news, there are now countries throwing sanctions on other countries, and we are going to get to the point where they're all going to eventually start using Bitcoin, and it's going to work from the bottom up. It's not going to happen from the US downward. It's people who are under the boot of other countries who are going to start adopting Bitcoin the quickest. And then there's going to be other countries whose economies are completely decimated, whatever the actual past event might have been. By the time we get officially around 20 countries using Bitcoin, that means also that they are accumulating Bitcoin to be able to actually, have some type of a store value. And when Bitcoin gets to that store value prospect area, 300,000 to 500,000 US dollars, as strong as and stronger than gold, you all know what's going to happen from there. Anyway, yeah, I found this news very fascinating, because it's also like all over the place. People are actually talking about it. I wonder what the conversations are behind the scenes with people who don't want them to use Bitcoin. They're probably not too happy, but this is the beginning of how the world transforms into a Bitcoin-centric world. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, a newly appointed official in Ukraine has officially declared his cryptocurrency holdings including a significant amount of the privacy-focused cryptocurrency known as Monero. Rostislav Solod, a 19-year-old, my gosh, deputy of the Kramatorsk regional department and the son of Ukrainian politicians Natalia and Yurly, reported holdings of 185,000 Monero, worth around $24 million at publishing time. According to a declaration published on the 2nd of December, Solod became the owner of this Monero fortune back in 2015 when he was 14 years old. The other weird part is that he bought each Monero at 50 cents, and apparently he paid around $90,000, so we're just going to assume he did not grow up poor. 90,000, right. So the news being, it's also right here, that this 19-year-old who's now a member of politician? I don't know exactly what his official role is, but he has $24 million in Monero. I'm going to tell you right now, he is not the only politician on this planet who is holding cryptocurrencies or who does not have large amounts of cryptocurrencies within their digital pocket, because it just seems absolutely logical at this point. The amount of people who've come forward, even just within the states, we got about like 6 people, politicians, senators, congressmen, I don't know what you want to call them, who came forward and they're like, for crypto laws, Bitcoin isn't that bad, we need to so-and-so, embrace the technology. And I'm like, I'm going to assume you're also holding as well. Anyway, yeah, kind of, I want to say kind of fascinating, but maybe it's just like it shows where the trend is going, that young people are more into crypto. I'm not really sure what it is, and I'm not really that shocked that someone in power is holding millions of dollars worth of anything. If he has 24 million, never mind. I was going to say if he has $24 million in Monero, how much money does he have in other stuff? He's 19. Anyway, that's the Ukraine Monero crypto 19-year-old news. I don't know. And let's move on. Next up, Ethereum 2.0's rollout saw phase 0 of its multi-year rollout commence on December 1st with the launch of the Beacon Chain. The new proof-of-stake-based Ethereum network has been the talk of the crypto town, as many see it as a revolution in the field. It's a bit intense. Potentially able to process tens of thousands of transactions, yada yada, 1.2 million. So apparently there's now 1.2 million Ether staked. I think we had, 50,000 and then 100,000 and 500,000 and 700,000. Then the last time we spoke about this was like 800,000. Apparently now there's 1.2 million. The interesting part is, at present, the number of Ether being added to the staking contract is around 40,000 Ether per day, around 22.5 million US dollars. And there's that little chart right there. That is 400, that's $1.2 million. No, sorry, wow. 1.2 million Ether per month. I don't remember the exact amount of Ether circulating. I think it's over 120, 140 million. I really don't remember at this point. Yeah, more Ether is being added to the contract every single day. This will only accelerate. And I give it to like March or April. We need to see people who have been putting their stuff into contracts, staking their coins, and can come to us and say, we have got a consistent 8% return month on month from the coins that we had in the network, and that's going to cause other people to start falling into it as well. But I assume behind the scenes, remember we were getting news before that tons of institutions are also buying up Ethereum now as well. And, it's usually in the same paragraph as Bitcoin, but it's kind of at the very end kind of thing. I think that's also going to be quite fascinating if we get jumps in the amount. If it's 40,000 now per day, if we end up getting to around like 90,000 per day, 110,000 per day, that's going to mean that institutions are pushing their money into it as well. Because once again, I believe that this is going to be a huge portion of how money is made, created, passively made in the future. If you are, and I mean, it could even take the spotlight away from a lot of other things. If you are able to buy up coins, lock them into a contract, and year on year, I think the highest number we saw was 17%. That's usually more than some places in real estate. Maybe even, especially with dividend stocks. What happens if Ethereum keeps rising in price and you get a 3x return on what you, even more than that. Like most blue chip stocks give you around a 3 to 3, 2.8, maybe 3.5% dividend yield. Now imagine putting that into something that's super secure, that's being hyper adopted, and you get 17% back. It would take over the value proposition of a lot of dividend stocks as well. And, as far as like holding them, why am I holding that? I'm making 4% per year when I could be making 12 on that. So that's the Ether news. Kind of nice to get numbers every single day because numbers make the most sense. It goes beyond speculating and going, oh gosh, how many Ether are being put into the contract? We now know the exact number and get these pretty little charts to show us exactly how much the adoption is rising. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up in, I want to say I'm rich. Look at me over here. I'm buying Bitcoin news, but I'm going to be nice. The well-known, that was karma. The well-known gold bug, CEO and Chief Investment Officer at U.S. Global Investors, Frank Holmes, recently sat down for an interview and discussed his price predictions in regard to the 2021 value of gold. Holmes also said that cryptocurrencies will continue to do well next year, as he believes increasing Bitcoin adoption and decentralized finance will benefit the industry. A number of gold bugs like Peter Schiff are not too keen about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I don't know the guy. I'm never going to meet the guy. I don't really want to know the guy. I think Peter Schiff and a lot of other people, I think they know exactly what's going on. I don't assume that these men aren't in some way intelligent. They understand market moves, market makers in the space and how things kind of, grow from there. We also know that Peter Schiff also owns Bitcoin. He said he couldn't get into his wallet, but we know that he owns some. I think that it's not them. I don't think it's so much that they don't think that Bitcoin's going to make it. I think they've made such an industry name for themselves by being in gold for the last 20, however odd years these people have been into it, that it's difficult for them to say that anything else could take its place. If you made $45 million, saying that this piece of metal is going to change the world and continue rising in price, and you start buying up tons of it, it rises in price, and you see your wealth dramatically explode, that's your namesake. That's what you are. That's how people know you. So if you flip-flop, like imagine Peter Schiff going, oh yeah, Bitcoin's amazing, I'm only going to be buying Bitcoin. The tons of people who bought gold because of him, they're going to be a bit confused because that's kind of his name. Like imagine, I can't even say any other names, but you kind of get what I'm saying, right? Like it's kind of what you are, and it's just kind of the direction that you go in. It says then there are other well-known precious metal proponents who have warmed up to digital assets like Bitcoin. For instance, gold bug and monetary expert Andy Hoffman explained a few years ago that he had to change his thought process to understand that Bitcoin is no enemy of gold and silver. In fact, Hoffman now believes that gold and cryptocurrencies are allies towards ending the largest, most destructive Ponzi scheme known as fiat. So, yet again, someone else has come forward to tell us that Bitcoin isn't all bad. Bitcoin's kind of cool. We're also getting, thank you for joining us. Hello out there. The people who are advocates for gold, but also being like, oh, wait, Bitcoin's not as bad. We're all going towards the same goal. It's the overthrowing of fiat because it is a garbage system and it is not really benefiting anyone except for those at the very, very top. Not really much more that I have to say on this. I think, what is this? Here's the actual article that they were discussing in the article that we were just going over. Sure. This is going to continue happening. We will only get more believers the higher that we go in price. When we hit the $40,000, $50,000 Bitcoin, I assume the large capital outflows, like JP Morgan just said, from gold are going to be exponential. Anyway, I wonder if we can ever get to like a $20, probably. If Bitcoin goes to $1 million and we get tons of outflows from gold, I was like, I wonder if we ever see like a $20 an ounce gold. That'd be a little weird. Because I think even during the gold standard, wasn't like an ounce of gold 36 or something like that dollars pegged to the US dollar? I don't know. It's going to be a rocky road. Almost made an ice cream joke. Let's move on. Next up sure, why not? Go for it. France is reportedly preparing to regulate all crypto-to-crypto transactions and roll out stricter KYC, Know Your Customer rules. Citing sources familiar with the matter, The Block reports that the French Finance Ministry will publish a decree this week that will mandate full Know Your Customer for all customers, of crypto exchanges and firms regardless of transaction size. This is called desperation. KYC checks are currently limited to crypto to fiat transactions worth at least 1,000 euros. With the upcoming change, all crypto transactions will undergo full KYC processes and will require users to submit 2 types of government identification. You have to understand something. Regardless of how rich France is not above people picking up their laptops, getting into a plane, and flying somewhere else. I'm not really sure. I'm sure it has to do with trying to keep the economic sovereignty of the euro intact. I get it. Understood. But you can't make sure that everything crypto related simply leaves your borders. Especially if you are a European citizen, you can simply go to Portugal or go to Germany and not have to fall under. It just doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes. I don't know the guy who actually made this law or is going to be pushing this law out. I'm going to assume he's an older gentleman, one who does not use a computer often, maybe still has a flip phone, just simply because these things are so prohibitive. And it should go both ways. If you are going to make sure that any transaction, that's insane, happening with crypto has to undergo a 2 identification KYC process, please make sure that you do the exact same thing for euros. If I'm going to the supermarket and I'm buying some chocolate chip cookies, make sure that I also have to hold up 2 forms of ID as I'm handing over that €5 piece to buy my cookies. This is happening because they're trying to find ways of getting control of everything as much as possible. But they don't realize that it's not even hampering innovation, because innovation is going to be happening in other places around the world. We have planes, we have computers, we have legs. We can go to other countries and simply use them to be able to. It just doesn't. You understand what I'm saying? It's this really weird stuff that keeps being put out by countries. I don't know if they're trying not to make any money, if they're in a situation where they're like, we're good, we don't got to make any more cash, just please leave our borders. But then you got stuff like Switzerland, who's like, no, please over here. Like, we will make it very friendly for you in every possible way. So yeah, apparently this week, it is Thursday right now. I assume either today or tomorrow, as the week is going to be ending. We're going to be getting news about this law that's going to be happening. I feel like a lot of times it's countries being like, we can do X, Y, and Z because people will still try and do business here. That's not how things work. Imagine, and there must have been. I maybe was just too young to really have gotten the full scope of this. When the internet and computers were rolling out, Windows 95 era, somewhere around there must have been countries who were like, we are never going to adopt a computer and we do not need the internet. And I wonder where they are now. Like, I wonder when they kind of shifted and kind of went to the other side, because stuff like this is just, it's just nonsensical. So cool. I'm pretty sure France also has a pretty high crypto taxation thing in general. Wasn't it like 37%? I know I've asked this before a couple of months ago, and people within France were telling me exactly what the crypto taxes were. And I don't understand. Just also remember, if you are a French citizen, just about next door is Portugal. 0% taxes. As long as you are legally always able to do these things, especially for your financial benefit, once again legally, by all means go and do it, because money. Anyway, that's the French nonsense news, and let's move on. What's this one? Oh, the letter O. And the biggest news story for today: a euro stablecoin is being issued by one of the oldest banks in the world. Ooh, and it's being done on the Stellar blockchain. Announced on Wednesday, Germany's Bankhausfondsheit, or BWDH, established in 1757, is working with tokenization and digital asset custody technology provider Bitbond for the first direct issuance of a stablecoin by a banking institution on Stellar. Bitbond has already partnered with the Stellar Development Foundation and Tempo to use their stablecoin and has recently received approval from the German regulator BaFin to issue tokenized bonds also on Stellar. This was said by the CEO of Bitbond. So we got tokenized bonds and a stable coin, and I assume some type of other debt issuance will also be taking place as well. This news is mega popular. What did I say about 3 weeks ago? Does anybody remember? Why is Stellar moving up? Stellar's up by 13%. There was no news for Stellar today. Let's move on. The next day. Stellar's up by 20%. Was there any Stellar news? No. All right, I guess. Well, see you all tomorrow. Stellar's still up. The market's in red, but Stellar's up. So, nailed it. Finally makes sense. I assume this news was well known by the banks behind the scenes, probably even the Stellar Foundation. Of course, this is all speculation, but it does make a lot of sense. Stellar had no news for a good 48 years. It's been a long time since we've had like actual Stellar news. And then Stellar starts going up like a good 8 days in a row. And I was like, well, that's weird. As it stands right now, yeah. So one of the oldest banks in the world is going to be issuing their own stablecoin on the Stellar blockchain. Lumens will be used for the transaction fees. And what was the other part? Tokenized bonds. Yeah. Good job for those of you who have Stellar, held on to Stellar, something Stellar-esque. I don't know what words I'm trying to use. I have no lumens. I don't care for lumens, but gosh darn it, if this isn't a great day for people who are holding lumens. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, George Montoya, Wiselink, not TMI, Conan Don't Skip Leg Day, Snacky Chan, Tolik Banan, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Navarro Williams, David James, Attila the Han, Yasha Harari, Oscar Maldonado, Utopia 569, Moonman High XRP, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Stoyo, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Moher Maroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bank Roll Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Damien Setsuna, Richie Richard III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch, Test Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. Yes to Crypto, Bonnie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Arfmedic17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger Majanisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL, and Bolero Bastos. Thank you all exponentially much for your support. Thank you to everyone who is a brand new Patreon member. Thank you to everyone who is a clicker of affiliate links. Thank you to everyone for just being yourself and going along for the ride, because there's never a dull day in the cryptocurrency space. At the moment, Bitcoin is currently up by 2%. It is at $18,364 US dollars. Ethereum is up by 4%. XRP is up by 11%. No XRP news, but I've noticed a really weird, like, sibling rivalry, symbiotic thing kind of going on. When Lumens was going up before, XRP was going up. When XRP goes up, Lumens kind of goes up. So I wonder if this push right here is kind of like a, we can do the same kind of thing as you. Cardano's up by 7%. Absolutely wonderful. And Lumens is up by 18.48%. Still a magical number, because I have a reason. I assume it would normally just be up by around 1, 2, 3%. It is pushing its way towards the top 10 right now. NEM is up by 17%. A lot of question marks. Every single day, the volume drops. I think it was 130 million yesterday, and now it's 100 million. And NEM keeps moving up in price. Not really sure why. Anything else significant right now? Waves is up by 10%. Also kind of the same. Like, what is this average? Anything else? Nope, just roughly around the 2 to 5% range, where I would expect everything to be going, as Bitcoin is up by around 2 to 3%. Yeah. Let's see where the rest of the week takes us. I'm rather excited, because every day is always crazy. There's also tons of other news. I have a lot to do today, but I may try to make another video. Don't hold me to that, but I'm going to try. I do like making content. I do like bringing out the news. It's actually quite fun. I'm pretty sure you see I have a lot of fun with it. This is, all my reactions and my movements. It's just who I am. Anyway, I do hope that you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See